that really is it. I'd like to thank you all so much for having you stay this long and kind of hearing the commentary of how I was thinking these 7 attacks, and I hope to see you all soon and potentially attack you all soon next year.
Welcome back to Artfight, the annual summer event that turns any and all of its participants into weaponized artists. Basically, you attack people by drawing other people's characters, and if you're lucky, they may respond to you with some drawings of your own characters. You see, back in 2023, I received my Artfight baptism, and as someone who only draws a specific set of humans, I really enjoyed the experience of drawing characters with cool looking designs, going completely out of my comfort zone for some of my art, and meeting a few new people along the way. Which means that my expectations for Artfight 2024 is guaranteed to be high. Much like my expectations for this masterpiece I'm still working on. So if you're expecting to watch a normal art time-lapse video, prepare to be majorly disappointed. But if you're interested in knowing how I'm getting better with drawing women, how I survived without Wi-Fi for an entire week, how I learned to draw without using Windows, or just how far my physical and mental health has spiraled in one summer, then I guess you've come to the right place. Regardless, this video took way too long to edit and prepare, and you're just about to see why. So the theme for Artfight 2023 was the canonical final battle between Team Edward and Team Jacob. And after all was said and done, the werewolves were crowned the alphas of Artfight. But with a new year comes a new theme. So succeeding 2023's Battle of Twilight is the Battle of... Shells and stars? Ocean and space? Wait, what the hell is it called again? Hang on. Oh, I see. Yeah, so it's the Battle of Seafoam and Stardust. Not sure how those two are related, but I guess it makes sense. What makes more sense is my rationale for selecting the teams. I was originally going to be on Team Stardust because it reminded me of Angry Birds Space and my current active obsession for Celeste. I emphasize the word originally because almost everyone that I wanted to attack that year was also on Team Stardust. So I had to settle with Team Seafoam. Since I enjoy sunsets down by the lakes, and I remember going on a trip to New England a couple years back. It was a compromise, to say the least. With that being said, let's get to work on that battle pass. So during the process of creating the Seafoam battle pass, I didn't have an idea right off rip compared to the Twilight one I made the year prior. So you're going to see me pivot through several sketched ideas before I settled with this shore design. And even then, I pivoted through the ideas a little bit further. Now, you may have noticed a black silhouette resting on the rocks, and that was initially for teasing a character design that would later reveal during Artfight, but I would later find out that making attacks took more of a priority than finishing the redesign of a character. So the character behind the silhouette was never revealed. And with that, my tentative battle pass is now complete. And just in the nick of time, because right when this art fight began, their servers crashed. Seemingly per tradition. I guess that's the sign for me to work on my first wave of attacks. So my very first attack of the year was a friendly fire. I know, it's an interesting way to get yourself out of the gate, but Value Fries offered something from her character roster that I couldn't pass up. She had characters that played ice hockey. I decided to draw North not just because she was an already well-established character, but I found out that the hockey element in her personality was barely explored. So I thought I would get to cracking with this. One element that I had the most fun with drawing was the Loveland hockey gear, because there was no prior reference to how it all should be made, which left the door wide open for me to be a little creative with the design of the sweater, gloves, socks, the works. And here's the final product. I did do a little bit of touching up in post, but it still definitely won the approval of Value Fries. And she even asked me if she can use this attack for inspiration on future jerseys. And to that I say, you're more than welcome to. And I'm more than willing to share other ideas for jersey designs if you so desire. Next up was the attack that I wanted to finish first, which is Tyler McGuire and Irving Heffingway sharing a dorm room together. My experience of living in the dorms as a college student was the main source of inspiration for this attack, and I was almost going to make it a crossover attack with Tyler and Anthony, but after doing some research on Lindros Toy House, I decided to do Tyler and Irving instead. And here's the final result. Looking back at it, I wish I made the furniture a bit more proportional, and I probably should have decorated the walls a little bit more, but at the very least it was doable for the time. Last in this wave, but certainly not least, is a little crossover attack featuring the characters of Habitacion 8. Now, I actually found out about Lucio Volk's art from Renee when I was searching for autistic characters to bookmark. And although Renee was too young for me to attack, I immediately grew fond of Lewis's art style. And it was when I was perusing through his profile when I saw Paulette for the first time. And let me just say for the record, I really love her character design. So much so that I fell into a rabbit hole known as Habitación 8, a Spanish webcomic that started 10 or so years ago. And despite the language barrier that I had to face, since I know very little to no Spanish, I was still able to interpret what was going on through the comic. And from what I've read, the overall premise of the comic is very interesting and actually got me wanting to know more about Paulette and Isaac the Mouse. So when it came to making the attack, I wanted to celebrate the comic-like feel of the characters to show my excitement for what adventures these oddball roommates might have. Plus, I decided to get Anthony involved in a piece of the action just for the fun of it. This was also a chance for me to share how I interpreted the personalities of each character. Isaac being the chaos gremlin of the story, Carla being the worried neighbor, and Paulette being somewhat concerned while under the spell of caffeine. And here's the final result after a little bit of touch-ups. I'm really happy with how this turned out, as I was taking a few risks trying to go outside of my typical art style, and they really did pay off in the end, in my opinion. So after one wave of drawing my attacks, here's where I stand with them in terms of strength. Well, I'm glad I got those first attacks out of the way. Let's see how everyone else is doing.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the f*** is that? What is that, Private Pile?
So, apparently around this time, some moron decided to spam attack people of Team Seafoam with MS Paint smiley faces, all in the name of the quote-unquote Stardust Sweep. Fortunately, the scumbag in question got drop-kicked by the mods, and order was restored once again. Honestly, I don't know how someone can be so low-hanging of a fruit to launch a calculated attack on an art trading game with minimal stakes. But after that whole debacle, it's time to work on the second wave of attacks. So to start off this second wave, I decided to draw something a little bit simpler to recuperate from all the scene design and experimentation of drawing humans. And that's why I drew this little TBH creature. Now I've never drew a TBH before, but given my presence on the spectrum, I thought I would take a crack at it. And here's the final result. I actually got this done in under an hour and a half, which is a bit of an accomplishment for me, given how much time I spend making art nowadays. Continuing on this wave of drawing neurodivergent characters, my eyes become affixed to XYZ. Now, what caught my eye on them was the magic aspects, which I wanted to explore a little further, So with a little research through Xy's character profile and Dungeons & Dragons, I got to cracking. Now this was around the time I was experimenting with some downloadable assets and brushes from Clip Studio, and I decided to use some of those in this attack. And here's my Xy Zen attack after a few edits in post. I really liked how it turned out, and I'm glad I got a chance to find this character when I was searching for autistic characters. Now, this was an attack I actually planned on doing the year prior, but I simply ran out of time and ideas to get it off the ground. However, when I was planning out who I was going to attack, I looked back at both of these characters and decided that I wanted to experiment with the relationship between Tylermsa and Astava. So with a little bit of research on each character, an actual concrete idea, and rejuvenated motivation, I got to drawing. And here's the final result after a little bit of touching up in post. This was definitely the first time I've drawn trolls like these, and I thought I did okay with it. So, after 2 waves of drawing my attacks, here's where I stand with them in terms of strength. And that is where I left things off, as I traveled to the Adirondack Mountains for a family vacation. A chance to get out of the purgatory that was my own house. Now, some might say that I should have worked on a few attacks while on vacation, just to keep the grind going. That turned out to be easier said than done, because a few days before I went up to the mountains, a severe thunderstorm took out both power and internet throughout most of the Adirondacks. Fortunately for us, we were able to have power during our stay, but the same can't be said for the latter. So we just went without Wi-Fi for the whole week. And you can say that I touched a whole lot of grass during that time. And honestly, I really liked it. It's honestly great to have left the internet, social media, Artfight, and YouTube behind for a bit to be closer with my family. Instead of feeling like I should take pictures in video or use ridiculous camera rigs for some quick and easy B-roll, I treated every photograph and video recording like a personal memory. In my opinion, having the skill to separate family life and social media life has never been this important until recently. It not only keeps you grounded, but it also allows you to truly live in the moment. So once my vacation ended and I was vicariously reconnected to the land of free information and brain rot, I found this news post on the Artfight website. Most of the information in this post included housekeeping assignments, as well as transparency on Artfight's expenses and fundraising. But the biggest update of all was that Artfight was going to be extended by 2 full days, due to some unexpected issues during the fight that the moderators had to fix. This means I have more time to work on this next wave of attacks. The first thing I did when I got back was make an animation for a fan-made Just Shapes and Beats character. Now, I've actually made Art of the Cube from JSAB many years ago when I started making art, but why stop at making art when you can animate it? This attack was only possible because earlier in the summer, I got a new Samsung tablet that came with a free 6-month subscription to Clip Studio Paint EX. And I thought, why not try the entire depth and breadth of this software by making an entire animation? So that's how I got started. And here's the final animation. I was fortunately able to get this attack delivered after Irivist hid the character from public view. And after sending a private message requesting him to bring it back online, he did just that. So, thanks for doing that, dude. Now, my next attack involves Chris Hansen.
Why don't you have a seat there and get comfortable for that?
No, not that Chris Hansen. This Chris Hansen, a punk rock musician from the Y2K era who is secretly a werewolf. Which is why it's fitting for me to call this attack To Catch a Predator. So when I started making this attack, I wanted to make a scene with a lot of old TVs and computer monitors in the background, and Chris playing the guitar with one foot on a Windows 95 machine. But later on, I felt that this idea wouldn't do his personality any justice. Plus, I was really cutting it close for time. So I scrapped the original idea about halfway through and instead have him practicing on a stage with a lot of references to the woods and wilderness. And here's the final painting after a few edits in post. I was able to salvage some of the elements from the original idea, like the old computers and TV, to clash with the nature stage, to show how much Chris's sanity can slip if he was found out to be a werewolf. This is definitely, without a doubt, one of the strangest paintings I've ever made, and honestly, both Antonith and I seem to like it that way. At this point, I wanted to push myself even further as the final days of the art fight drew closer. That's why I drew RGBIA, whose simple design was actually fun to draw, not to mention that it gave me the freedom to experiment with female anatomy. And here's the final result. I do want to revisit this character in the future, once I've gotten more experience with drawing women in my art style. Now the last attack in this wave is a special one, as I look to finally give this group of 3 friends, most of whom who have never been attacked before, a place in Spacey the Idiot's attack gallery. And with a few days left to go, finishing this attack is going to take everything and sheer willpower to get it over the goal line. And here it is, Austin, Jake, and Eli, all in one painting. Well, I'm glad I got that one done. Let's see how many bookmark characters I have left to attack. Oh my god. That's a lot. Did I seriously overindulge in bookmarking characters over the last couple of months? There's several pages of this! Okay, Tyler, just breathe, okay? How much time do I have left? Okay, maybe with enough willpower, I can just draw one more attack. All I need is just one more attack, okay? Surely I can do that, right? Alright, let's see, what can I do? Okay, I know there's some unfinished work that I started earlier. Maybe look at that first. Okay, here's one here. Oh, come on! What? How did I spend a week on drawing this? Oh my god, where'd the time go? I don't know if I'm gonna have time to finish all this. Crap. Okay, what about this one? No, but this hasn't even gone off the ground yet! Damn! Ah! Okay, obviously I'm not gonna be able to finish all this. Alright. What if I just draw one directly from scratch? I still got the willpower to make a new attack, maybe. Okay, all I need is just one more attack. Just one more attack! Come on, dude. Come on, dude. Just think of something. Oh my god, what the hell is wrong with me? How did I stop losing motivation to do all this? I completely overestimated what I was capable of doing. Oh, god damn it, I should have just managed my time better. Mother of God! For years, I've openly stated that I don't care about the numbers nor statistics on my YouTube, my Newgrounds, my soon-to-be defunct DeviantArt. But Artfight is different. In Artfight, the numbers really matter. The number of attacks you make, the number of characters you attack, the number of points you get in attack, the number of defenses you receive, your battle ratio. All of that shows how much you are contributing to your team. And all that matters if you want your team to win. It's one of the reasons why I've been more on the sneakier side of attacking people. Because I'm afraid of being labeled as a lazy team member. Or just a complete offloader. So if I were to make one more attack, what would I gain from it? Closing the gap for Team Seafoam? Drawing a character that could possibly be hidden from the public? Validation from a fellow artist? Seeing a set of numbers going up? Does it even matter at this stage of the game? And did I even manage my time enough? I mean, a lot of the things back in the summer of 24 were completely out of my control. I had graduate classes coming up that I needed to prepare. I had to deal with being underweight while at home. I had to live without Wi-Fi for a week. I had to relearn Clip Studio using a Samsung tablet, for Christ's sake. Did I really take something that was supposed to be fun very seriously? Have I really lost the plot? I think the real question I should ask is, have I done enough? Yes. After Artfight 2024, I had a lot of strong attacks, took a lot of risks, and learned a lot about myself that I didn't even know before. And honestly, if I had the ability to start again, a million miles away, I wouldn't have changed a single thing. It's these lessons and my extreme passion for drawing that keeps me drawn to events like Artfight, even if it's just an annual event. There really isn't much else to say, except thank you. Thank you to those who gave me compliments and feedback for my attacks. Thank you to those who made amazing revenge attacks on my own characters. I really do enjoy seeing what y'all come up with my own characters. And most importantly, thank you so much for your patience. This was a video that I wanted to get done a lot earlier, but that all changed when my senior year in university became pretty much a full-time obligation. So y'all's patience for the 2024 edition of the Tylermsa Artfight Rewind is absolutely commendable. As of editing this video, the Artfight team has been hosting several other events over the off-season, which I think is nice to have to get more people into the community. I've recently entered in this year's Sprout Fight Challenge, and I look forward to what Artfight has in store for the future. But with all that said, I'm just going to end the video with some behind the scenes footage and some kind of rolling credits.